We will see. We will see. We will see if this works. Let me just start with a prayer. Benevolent guides, guardians, ancestors, angels, star family, higher self, Yeshua, Baal, Ra, and God's source, and Archangel Michael, I humbly come to you today, and first of all, just say thank you on behalf of myself and all my clients for everything that you bless us with. And I just ask, please, that you put an invisibility cloaking on this working. Let Baal, I specifically call upon you, please, to put an invisibility cloaking on this working. Let none that are not supposed to see this hide it from their eyes. Protect us, shield us, put a white light bubble around myself in this home and the homes of my clients. Please protect the internet and protect this video from glitching and having problems in all aspects, and just protect us on all levels in the third dimension and all the dimensions above and below. We pray this with the purest of hearts and the best of intentions to the source from which all things come, God's source. And we say thank you in advance for the protection. Amon Ra, Ashe Namaste, by the power of three, so mote it be, always works, always a blessing. How's it going, guys? Is it better? Let me know, is the sound better? Take two, round two, yeah. A bitch just wants to have a little chitty chat with some fried cheese and pickles. Okay, it's much better, good. There was definitely negative energy though, because as soon as I started to pray, Cornica looked across the room. It was almost like something went out the window. And also the fact that she was like laying in front of the screen. She always does that when there's like someone who shouldn't be there. I've been having insane dreams this week too. Crazy. Guess who's back? Back again. Dutch is back with pickles and fried cheese. Hey, Polaris. So much better? Okay, good. Good. Hi. You don't want to fuck with Dutch, cuz I don't know why I keep doing this. Why am I doing this? I don't know. Ooh. All right, so what did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I wanted to get real about some shit. And yes, pickles and cheese, baby. Had a dream last night. I could manipulate water and remember feeling a ton of concentrated energy in my hands when I did it. Pisces moon, Cancer rising. Wow, that's powerful. That's probably a gift from a past life. Yay, I'm glad you caught the live. What is up? Hi, Madison. Oh, because your name is not Polaris. Well, it's nice to know your real name. Corn's leaving now because she doesn't feel we need the protection. I should have said a prayer from the beginning, but whatever. Whoa. Yeah, you guys like that latest video? You like these little intuitive readings I've been doing? Ooh, you're eating Mexican soup? That sounds yummy. You're eating French toast? Damn. You guys, everybody's got some good snacks. I'm going to need a napkin because I love fried cheese and pickles. So I make my pickles if you watch my like what I eat in a day video. And then I will like fry, I know it looks nasty, but I like fried up some cheese and then I eat it with the pickles and it's so good. You have munchies so much lately. You got some popcorn? Hell yeah. More, you like the, hi Maddie. You like the intuitive videos? Good. Nighttime snacking, hell yeah. Yeah, happy early birthday. Fried cheese is the best. I'm gonna get my little napkin and then, so I wanted to talk about, I'm gonna do a call me spell on Wednesday. We're gonna do a call me spell with Archangel Gabriel on Mercury Day, Wednesday, for communication. And then I am going to be doing the invisibility cloaking with Baal. I think I'm going to do a couple of these. Throughout the month of October. But I want to do invisibility cloaking for literally what we just did, like what we just experienced. I want to protect us in the astral realms. I want to protect us through the second dimension because I consider the second dimension not only to be mind, But I consider the second dimension to be the internet as well, because it's non-physical reality, but it's still some sort of reality complex thing. And so I want to do that. I want to protect our bank accounts, everything like that. Like, I got a weird feeling that we're going to need a little bit of extra invisibility and protection as the war because we are in a spiritual war. And as the war ramps up, I want to give us a little bit of extra protection for that. And we'll be working with Baal, who is like a master at invisibility. And right now, I'm really excited. I'm making some oils. I'm making snake oil with like actual rattlesnake vertebrae and ribs and snake skin. And that one is for luck, protection, and money. And then I have some invisibility oil that we're going to work with the invisibility spell for cloaking and invisibility, and that has real deer dewclaw bone and jasper crystal, and then there's herbs in both of them, but that one is for invisibility. So very good. Bile, yes, Sam. It's also known as BA''AL. That's like the oldest version of him. That's him as a storm god. He is but BA''EL. That's another version of him, and he is the counterpart to Astarte, Inanna Ishtar, Ashira, Astarte. They have all these different names, but Baal is a master of cloaking and invisibility, and yeah, also known as Beelzebub, but he kind of got a bad rep through Christianity with that. But yeah, he has many names, but he works heavily with me, and he shows himself to me with a deer skull holding a human skull, wearing a black cloak. So that's why in my invisibility oil, I put a deer dewclaw, because to connect to that version of him as he shows up. Mars retrograde soon. Lord help us all. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because Mars is his day. Mars is his like planet, and so that's why we're doing it we're going to be doing one of the invisibility cloakings on Tuesday, because it's like Mars day. Yeah, that's funny you bring that up. And the Deacon of Aries or something like that. Looking forward to Wednesday. Hell yeah. I'll explain after I eat a little bit of cheese, and I'm going to smoke a bowl, and then I'll explain like the donations and everything. I haven't decided. I have to think how much I want to charge for these things. Yeah, man, holy crap, what's going to happen during that? Ooh, boy, literally. Can we get a break with the retrogrades and everything? I'm inspired by your nails, and now I'm listening to you speak, painting my nails black. Hell yeah, they're super shiny, right? You know what these are? Press-ons. Press-ons are my new favorite thing. I hate going to the nail salon. I hate the smell. I hate having to sit hunched. It hurts. I always get cut. Then they'll lift, and then you get like the nasty stuff underneath your nail. And then sometimes the people are kind of bossy, and they'll like bully you a little bit. In my experience at the nail salon, I've gotten bullied a lot, where it's like, you don't just want that, you want this, this, and this. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I really just want this. Even when I got my nails taken off from the nail salon, she was like, how long are you taking a break? When are you coming back? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, there's literally, my nails are brown under here and brittle. I need a break. Like, stop bullying me. But these are press-ons. They're impress. I do not suggest the kind that you have to actually use the sticker pad and then stick it on yourself. I suggest these that have it already built into them, like mega adhesive is already on them. These last me at least a week, if not a week and a half, which is cool because you're not trapped in your nails. You can take them off very shortly after, and it doesn't hurt to take them off. Pull up the sides, and I take a little alcohol Q-tip, and I remove them with alcohol, because alcohol removes adhesive. And these are nicer too, because they're actually flexible. Like, they're not hard like the other nails, so they're hard enough to work well in life, but they're flexible in the sense that like if you catch them on something, they're going to be more flexible, and they won't just like snap off, like snap your actual nail. And then when I take them off, my nails are stronger underneath this. Like every time I take off they're Impress, the brand Impress. Every time I take them off, which is by Kiss, I think. But every time I take them off, my nails are stronger. Whereas when I go to the nail salon, and it's not toxic. Like I realized I have sensitive hormones, and I was having hormonal imbalance when I was getting the fake nails because there's so much junk in there. There's like formaldehyde and all these chemicals that are like really bad for you. And so I've noticed that I was diagnosed with PMDD, which basically means that like when you're on your period, your mental health systems like skyrocket. And like you could get really, really depressed or like really suicidal or things like that, like when you're on your period, because your hormones are kind of going crazy. And so I was able to change my diet and change a lot of things in my life to help even out my hormones, like cutting out sugar, realizing I was allergic to gluten, removing a lot of the chemicals from my life. This gave me a better hormonal balance. And so I was doing great for a while. And then I realized that when I had the fake nails, when I was ovulating and when I had my period, I would have PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder symptoms, where I would get severely depressed or like really like angsty or like passively suicidal. And I hadn't felt that way in years. And I finally put 2 and 2 together that I was unintentionally poisoning myself through my nail beds, through the chemicals from the nails. And as soon as I took off my fake nails, my mental health went back to normal. And my periods actually got healthier as well. They were more normal after I did that. There's so much like shit. You know, I look forward to a world where we get actually good medication, actually good V's, actually good fucking fake nails, actually good for you hair products, like actually good food, actually clean air, clean water for all, food for all. Like, I know that that's somewhere on the horizon. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get there, but I can already feel the new earth, and I can already feel that that is our future, that, the lower timelines and the evil doers have lost. But it's like, it doesn't stop it from being so frustrating that every product pretty much that we are given as a slave race is low quality, because they don't care about us. They don't have our best interests at mind, and they actually want us dead, in my opinion. So it's like they're slowly poisoning us, and it makes us consumers. It keeps the more sick they keep us, and the more low quality everything that they give us, it keeps us consuming, right? Like it keeps us consuming, like, so you've been eating bad, like, okay, whatever, like, so I put this on my nails, and then it makes me have these premenstrual dysphoric disorder experiences from having this low quality thing on my nails. Now I have to go and buy something to like try and remedy that, like, and make it better. And that's where Big Pharma makes their millions, by putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole and keeping you a lifelong consumer of their unnecessary products and shoddy products and shit products. Bang, bang, come for me. I don't fucking care. I'm just speaking truth. Ashe, man. Actually clean water. I know. The water we drink is like filtered from the toilet. I guarantee you that like the celebrities are not drinking filtered toilet water. I guarantee you that, Jeff Bozo and, Gil Bates, I bet they're not fucking drinking toilet water. Isn't it interesting how he doesn't V his children? How he's pushing this V on the entire planet, yet he doesn't even V his own spawn? If it truly is the answer to health and the answer to ending a crisis, why wouldn't you V your own spawn? It raises many questions, doesn't it? I can feel the big shift to the new earth as well. Man's probably drinking some Mars water, literally. Moon water. The problem is the solution. We buy it so they make it. We choose this life. We all we have to do is choose something else. True. I just wish there were better options. But that's why like other people that's why I say I can feel it, because I'm starting to see better options in certain areas. I just look forward to a future where we don't have to like just be poisoned every day, all day. Because even if we are choosing, it's still in the air. And then that does raise the question, like mind over matter, like, because I used to hyper focus on like the pollution in the air and the chemtrails and everything like that, and I had way more migraines back then because I was hyper focused on it. But then with when I decided to just be like, this doesn't affect me anymore, I've been inhaling these chemicals for long enough that I don't want this to affect my body anymore, I was able to like really train my brain to not get so worked up about it all. Yeah, man, and it's still in the soil. These bodies are meant to evolve, literally. I agree with that so much, because isn't it funny? No matter how much they try to kill us off, they can't. They can't. We stay evolving. No matter how much they try to destroy our evolution, they can't. I have to know about your hand tattoos. Are they rune symbols on your fingers? That's so funny you asked me that, because I was just saying, like, how I had one of the guys I'm dating over here. We just went through all my rune symbols on my hand. You're so psychic, Hannah. To the point where I literally brought this out. This is on the wall in my bedroom, and I brought this out so I could show him the explanation for either of them. And it's literally just sitting right across from me. You're so psychic. It's wild. Yeah, you never got the V because of that. Exactly. Does getting sigil tattoos actually have an effect on your energy? Absolutely. I would say absolutely. Personally, I would, for me anyway. The real question is, are Evian and Fiji water filtered from the toilet too? Literally. My padrino says that these chems are directly intended for our spiritual makeup. We grow spiritually. We literally build immunity and new things. That's beautiful. That's amazing. You got the rune book out? That's so funny. All right, let me get a napkin so I can eat my fried cheese and pickles. And then I want to drink some water, and I want to smoke some Weedicles. And then we can talk about the spells. I'm tired, guys. I was double sick. I got hit with a massive, like, UTI. I was in so much pain. It felt like when I don't know if you guys remember when I was like on my deathbed like a year and a half ago from like a really bad UTI. But it was so scary and triggering back to that time. I'm healing, and I'm still taking my medicine, and I'm being very careful, and I'm drinking a bunch of water and everything like that. But like I got hit hard, and then I got hit with like migraine and ear infection symptoms yesterday. And then I woke up this morning and I felt so much better on both levels, and I felt like both of it was DNA activation. That's another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about getting back out there sexually after having sexual trauma, and some of the symptoms you might experience that we are not taught are actually symptoms of moving through sexual trauma. And I'm going to start doing that therapy. It's like pelvic floor therapy that's specifically for survivors of sexual abuse. And I say the words. I don't care if YouTube demonetizes me on this video, because why can't I say that? Like, it happened to me. Why can't I say that? Like, why do I have to say SA? Like, sexual assault is already the nice term. Like, let's call it what it is, RAPE. I'm not going to say that because I know that can be really triggering for people, but, like, it's just crazy, like, that you can't say certain words or you get in trouble. Like, the censorship has just gone off the rails, and it's like, do y'all even remember what it was like to not be censored before 2020? Like, isn't it a little convenient that the censorship has just gotten so... And this is why my last video was glitching. They already knew. Every time I go live, I just can't help myself. I just can't help myself. I can't help it. Oh my god. Ooh, I just got chilly. Stop, Dutchess. We are twinning right now. I was just thinking about healing after sexual trauma, but I'm going to try tennis ball pelvic release. Interesting. I don't know what that is. I feel your pain and trauma. I had a terrible UTI into a life-threatening kidney infection in May, and it was traumatic, both the illness itself and the way it was treated at the hospital. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. And like, I feel like there's nothing more helpless feeling than like when that area is out of whack. Like for me, puking makes me feel pretty helpless because it's like a one-way system and all of this is coming out of my mouth and I can't breathe and stuff. But like, I feel so humbled and so helpless like when I'm having organ issues down there because it's just so painful and traumatic. And then like you said, usually the actual healing aspect of it is traumatic too. Like for me, why mine was so traumatic was because I was like on my deathbed. It was like I went from 0 to 1,000,000. It was like all of a sudden I was pissing blood and chunks of skin, and I was in the worst pain in my life ever that I had ever felt. I thought I was having organ failure. And then I went to go to the walk-in and they wouldn't let me in. I had to do an over the phone consultation because it was like it was prime COVID time. It was like another there was like I think it was Omicron was out, and so they wouldn't, and we had a snowstorm coming because where I live it snows. So between COVID and the snowstorm, they were like, don't come in, and they prescribed me antibiotics over the phone. So what I did was I took the wrong antibiotic. That's the other thing we don't really talk about is not only how worn out medical care professionals have become since the pandemic, but how low quality medical care has become since the pandemic. Like, I feel like it went way down the shitter because it was like these people just weren't, like, the people working there weren't treated well. I feel like they had to hire people who maybe weren't necessarily as qualified as they should be. And I also feel like medical care people are just at the end of their rope, rightfully so. But still, why are we not providing them with like higher wages or whatever it is that they need to like continue to keep healthcare decent? And I don't want to speak for everywhere. That's just where I'm at in the world. I feel like it went into the shitter after the pandemic. But so they prescribed me, like, never in my life would I think I would be prescribed a pharmaceutical over the phone. Like, and then they prescribed me the wrong thing. So then I was just in the worst pain ever for an entire week. And then when I reached the week mark and I wasn't getting better, literally, guys, every day for a week, lay in bed for 15 minutes, stand up, go pee, chug a glass of water. Lay in bed for 15 minutes, stand up, go pee, chug for a week. A week. And then by the 7-day mark, I called my mom, bawling my eyes out. I was like, I'm not getting better. I think I'm dying. Like, I think this is organ failure, blah, blah, blah. Like, literally thought I was dying. I was crying because my back hurt so bad from, like, chugging. Like, my esophagus hurt from chugging so much water. Like, it was so traumatizing. And then I had to go to the clinic and they were like, oh, they prescribed you something that this is like, it doesn't even help with UTI. It's like resistant to that. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I like fucked up my system for a week, taking these antibiotics, like fucking up my gut and like my flora and everything like that. And it wasn't even the right one. And I just suffered like on my deathbed it was very traumatizing. And then it was like during that time I was in so much pain. That's when I joined the Nazareth cult by accident. Because I was so vulnerable and in so much pain that I literally like was looking for any solution to the pain. And this time I was like, I'm not falling for that same trick. I'm not falling into that trap. I was like, no negative entities, no Jehovah, none of these negative entities are welcome. I do not consent. I called upon St. Jude on Friday. This was this week. I called upon St. Jude, my man. I called upon St. Anthony to restore my health. St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes. St. Anthony to restore what has been lost. And I called upon Archangel Michael to keep the negative entities away while I was vulnerable. But it was it's traumatizing. Thank you. Yeah, it was good. Their system depends solely on the bottom rung being littered with the poor and desperate, literally. They keep us ignorant and afraid. We'll do whatever they want. The game changes when we start moving energy. Hell yes, and that's why they're trying to keep us so desperately from evolving and moving energy. What? And your doctor missed the kidney infection at first, so you could have died. I am so sorry, Mia. They gave me the wrong antibiotics first, so I had to take more, which pissed me off and ruined my taste buds. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, dude. Like, we deserve actual quality healthcare, especially when we're paying for it. Like, what? Hey, Mandy. Sorry, but fried cheese and pickles is wild because I've been eating fried pickles all day. Hell yeah. How are you feeling? Your comment made me feel very sad for you. I'm really sorry you're going through that. Guys, pray for Mandy if you can. She's kind of going through it right now. She's been abandoned. My hair care routine. Your hair is always so beautiful. Thanks. This is like not washing it for like a week. What I do is I dry brush my hair before I wash it. I dry brush it outside of the shower, and then I use Function of Beauty, but I'm not thrilled with Function of Beauty because every time I buy a package from them, it's leaked. So I'm going to try this other brand next time. I'm still using Function of Beauty right now. It's like nice on my hair. But I'm going to try this other brand that a different YouTuber I like, Stephanie Harlow, suggested. So I'm going to try that one. And then literally that's all I do. I dry brush my hair before I go in the shower. And then so it's nice and like untangled. And then I wash it with my Function of Beauty shampoo. And then I use the conditioner. And then I put it in the towel for a few minutes. And then I sleep on it wet, and when I wake up, it's beautiful, and then I can leave it like this for days. Thank you, though. It's such a nice compliment. Hello. I love how when they make a life-threatening mistake, they're like, "Oops-a-daisy." Literally, but like if you don't give them, like if you, God forbid you make a mistake or like you don't explain something all the way or you don't understand their like terminology or whatever, and then things like you're held accountable. I always felt that way about the doctor though, because if you're even 1 minute late, they're like, "Sorry, your appointment is canceled." But you could sit at the doctor's office for an hour and they're just like, "It's just the way it is." Like, it's the same thing. Make a life-threatening mistake, and they're like, "Sorry. Better luck next time. Bang, bang." Like, what the fuck? You're so right. Thanks, love. I appreciate any and all prayers and well wishes. I'm experiencing a lot of rage thanks to deep-seated abandonment issues, aged out of foster care. I know I'll figure this thing out. That's something I want to talk about. I felt like my UTI turned into a UTI. I mean, there was a lot of reasons. I think it's sexual trauma kicking up. I think was a lack of water. I don't think I drank enough water the day before or the day of. I think I was too out of my body, so I couldn't feel the signs that I might be starting to get a UTI. And the other thing is I was feeling extreme rage, because once again, the Native American and Indigenous community was attacking me. Every time I do anything, I'm Ramapo Native American. I'm so tired of saying it. I'm so tired. I don't want to fight with other Native American people. I don't want to fight with Indigenous people. I don't want to. When I tap into that collective, it is so full of rage, rightfully so. No one's saying you shouldn't be, but there has to be a point when we stop turning on each other. And this doesn't just go for that community. This goes for all of us in the 99%. Because no matter what you are, we're all human here, right? Like we're all on each other's side. It's us against the 1%. And divide and conquer is what they use to keep us fighting against each other so we never turn and fight against them. And so I posted a little very just plain video, just me smoking my peace pipe that I was gifted at the antique shop by my ancestors on Instagram. And whoa, it took off. It got like over 10,000 views. My Instagram videos usually get, I don't know, a couple thousand. It got 10,000 views. And of course, in those 10,000 views, There's all these people coming out of the woodwork to tell me I'm a disgusting white person appropriating, and there's no way you're Native American, you're white, and white people need to stop stealing from brown people's culture. And it just blows my mind because it's so fucking racist. Like, if you judge anybody else, any other race, by the color of their skin, you get held accountable for racism. But it feels like people just get to it. And I'm not saying, oh, white people have it so hard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, people neglect to recognize a lot of times when there is racist behavior towards light-skinned people. And this has happened to me multiple times. There's been multiple times where I have, like, gone live crying. I've gone live screaming. I've gone live, like, begging for, like, you know, to be accepted. And I'm just not doing it anymore. I actually had someone come from my Instagram page and say, hi, you're not responding to any of my nasty comments to you on your Instagram page, so I'm going to leave you a comment here on your YouTube and tell you that you absolutely disgust me. You should be ashamed of yourself. There's no way you're Native American because you're white. Stop. You better watch yourself. Like, threatening me. It's just so disgusting to me. Like, I am Ramapo Native American, and I have white fucking skin. Get the fuck over it. And if you can't, you're a fucking racist, and you're judging me. But what is the definition of racism? Hating someone or judging them by the color of their skin. This is a fucking argument I have dealt with since I got on the internet and was being spiritual. I've heard everything from white people don't have ancestors, white people have no culture, white people can't be witches, white people can't manifest, white people can't, spirits don't like white people. Like, this is a problem I have had since I got on the internet on this channel in 2018. It's nothing new. And, you know, I was so angry because every time it happens, it hurts my feelings. Like, I know this is nothing new under the sun, but racism fucking hurts. It hurts my feelings every time. And I just got so riddled with rage. And UTI is actually, spiritually speaking, it's about being pissed off. Like, your rage can actually channel into your womb and create, like, UTIs are created by rage, spiritually speaking. And so I think it was a combination of, like I was saying, sexual trauma kicking up, old trauma kicking up, physical things like not drinking enough water and everything like that. But it was the rage. Like, I just get so angry. And, you know, I realize, like, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to fight with other Native Americans. I don't want to fight with anyone. I don't want to fight with any of my fellow humans, especially not fellow natives. And so I just choose peace. I have to. I don't have a choice. Clearly, Spirit humbled me and said, no more rage in this collective. You have to choose peace. And so I did. And I'm just ignoring the comments and everything. And it's just a losing battle because some people are just going to be like that. And, you know, the last time I talked about this, I had so many mixed people sending me emails or leaving me comments being like, I am white with freckles and red hair, and I'm Native American, and I'm rejected by the community too. Or people being like, I'm half black and half white, and the black community doesn't want me because I'm not black enough, and the white community doesn't want me because I'm not white enough. Like, when the fuck are people just gonna chill? Like, it's so disappointing, and it was very hurtful, and I think that's why it all turned into a UTI. So anyway, I'm going around saying this because, Mandy, make sure that you process your rage in a healthy way because you don't want it to turn into some sort of physical ailment. And turn it back on yourself. You want to express it through art, express it through poetry, express it through journaling, get it out of your body so it doesn't turn around and go internally, and then you end up suffering through some sort of physical ailment that is a manifestation of your rage. People protect what's inside of them, or people project what's inside of them. If they project rage, hate, and racism that lives within them, it's projected and ultimately has nothing to do with you. Yes, I know, it just hurts. That one is the one that gets me. And that's why I sat down with Spirit after, like, having my ass humbled, and I was like, what is the message? Like, why does this keep happening? Why does the racism thing just keep coming up year after year after year? Like, it's this thing I can't crack. And Spirit was just saying, like, I don't know. I think that if I want to do native things, I think I will just kind of keep it to a small group of people who know me and see me. And I think I just need to be mindful that when I'm posting, that it's like, it is a very raw community for a lot of reasons. And I'm not saying they shouldn't feel that way. I'm just saying they're kind of directing their anger in the wrong direction. They're just hurting. They're hurting, and so they're going out and they're hurting people. But either way, it's just like a lesson in that, like, maybe that part of me needs to be more private, and maybe that part of me needs to not necessarily be posting online because it tends to get me in trouble. But then there's the other part of me that's like, that's censorship and that's silencing me, and that's, so it's like I'm still trying to figure that one out. I don't really know what the lesson is. The lesson I know is this: I have to choose peace. I don't have a choice. I can't fight with these people. I can't let them get to me. I just have to choose peace. The garlic helps get rid of it quickly, and drink lots of water. Yes, I was eating a ton of garlic, drinking water. Hell yes. The liver holds on to anger that hasn't been released. Smiling at it transmutes it and lets it flow. That's a good gift. Someone was saying laughter too. Now I'm being able to let him touch me without feeling uncomfortable. Good. You release some rage. Good. Smile at your organs. I'm going to do that. Wow. I had my UTI right after meeting my twin flame for the first time. I have a history of medical sexual trauma and the situation. Oh my God. Bro, this white chick went off at me because I called my friend Wog. They're Italian, calling me racist. And I don't even know, like, I'm Italian and I don't even know that slur. And calling me racist to KMs, even though I'm also Italian and can speak my mother tongue fluently. That's wild. People will be mad about a lot of stuff. We have to realize that we are these humans living within one body, the earth. Could you imagine if your own body was constantly fighting itself and hating itself? So true. Some people are very ignorant. Love these lives. Yes, please drop these bars. Thank you, Beep Boop. It's a social tactic. I completely agree, right? Divide and conquer. If you can, like I said, they're just fighting, like, they're fighting for Native Americans while fighting a Native American. Like, don't sit there and tell me you're fighting for your people when you're fighting one of your people. Like, come on. Just because I'm not brown? God. The whole white versus non-white thing has me so confused where I am because my skin is light and there's a whole organized hate group out there targeting my ethnicity. But if you say that, people lose their shit. I've been saying for probably 3 years now that there's an attack on white people. But, it's hard to say that because some people get really mad because there's been attacks on other groups of people throughout time and history. It doesn't mean that we can't be getting attacked right now. I heard a really disturbing fact that I'm going to share that some people might not like it, but I don't care. I'm going to learn. I'm going to teach you what I learned. I learned that because I'm very into the detransition movement. I believe those people deserve a voice. I'm here for the underdog. No matter what, I'm here for the underdog. And I want to give a voice to the voiceless. And right now, the detransition movement is being really, really silenced. There's a Reddit group of 250,000 detransitioners who have found solace in each other. And this is not me being transphobic. This is not me saying I don't believe in it. I got to talk more about it, but I actually lived with a trans female to male for probably 2 years. And I also lived with a gender fluid. It was called gender fluid at the time. Now it has a different name, non-binary. person before that even existed, like before it was a well-known thing. And so obviously I'm not trans, and I wouldn't call myself gender fluid. I would consider myself a female. But I do have experience with, like I said, living with these people and watching them throughout their transition and watching what the hormones do and watching before surgery and after surgery and all these different things. I do have, like, this surgery is no fucking joke, man, but any surgery is no joke. We got to stop acting, and I have a whole live on that where I was like, we got to stop acting like plastic surgery is nothing, or like these trans surgeries are nothing. Like, they are intense. They're very intense, and it's just informed consent. That's all we want. We want informed consent, and we want good medical practices. That's all we want. But so I was learning recently that the biggest group of individuals in the detransitioner movement is females to males back to female. And they're generally white. They're generally Caucasian females. Now, some of these females did not want to be women because of the way that society was treating them. Some of them had deep sexual trauma or other mental health issues that got completely overlooked because there's absolutely no safe holds in America anymore. There are safe holds in other countries, not in America. There used to be. Like I said, I watched my roommate transition, and it was an extensive process with a lot of informed consent. And there was a lot that had to happen in order for him to become him, who he truly is. Now you can literally just order hormones online and get, like, somebody made a very good point. It's the only medical situation where you control your entire journey instead of the doctor. But so the detransitioners are generally Caucasian females who did not want to be female because of the way society treats women, did not want to be, or they have extreme sexual trauma or other mental health issues, and they did not want to associate themselves with that trauma anymore, they felt vulnerable as a woman walking society. And like I said, most of them are white, and a lot of them just didn't want to be a cisgendered white female because they have this guilt, this underlying guilt, or they're creating like there's this problem being created around white people, and it's like they try to shift that energy in some way because they're realizing they had this extreme self-hatred, not only about being a woman but about being a privileged white woman, and so they tried to fix that, and it didn't work. And so I just thought that was very sad and very enlightening as to the political climate right now. So yeah, that's just a fact I learned recently that I guess I'd like to share because I have a platform and I should be sharing this information. Yes, less labels labels are less than freedom, right? Like, let's all just fucking chill. And you know what else we don't talk about? What about two spirits? I was blessed enough to have an anthropology teacher in college teach us about two spirits, about in Native American culture. Actually, they used to just believe that two spirits could inhabit one. Labels are very limiting. And I think it's so scary when people create their identity through these labels, because even like when spiritually speaking, like we're not supposed to label ourselves. We're supposed to see ourselves as source, right? Like we're supposed to be like, the more labels, the more you create this like very three-dimensional box-like identity when you're actually none of these things. Like, I'm not even actually Nikki. Like, yeah, I'm Nikki. I'm having this experience as Nikki, as Dutchess, but I'm source. I'm source having a human experience. Like, at the end of the day, when we shed all of this, I'm not any of this. I'm not any of this, any of my art. I'm not my home. I'm not my work. I'm not my little trinkets all over the house. I'm not my little squishmallow. Like, I'm not like my squishmallow loving self. I'm none of this. I'm source. And you're source. And everyone's source. So it's like, the labels, I find them to be very limiting and very dangerous. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yes, we are everything and nothing. Exactly. That's a beautiful notion. Jim Morrison believed a shaman entered his body when he witnessed a car crash in the desert as a child. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Ghosts crowd the child's fragile eggshell mind. Yeah. Okay, so the two-spirit thing, and that's also called a walk-in when you have um another spirit come in. If you have like a near-death experience and you have another spirit come in and inhabit your body, that's also called a walk-in. But thank you for reminding me. I was talking about two spirits. So they had, back in the day, two spirits would is basically, didn't matter whether your body was male or female, you had both male and female spirits living within you, was how the Native Americans perceived it. And actually, two spirits were very rare, and they were well revered by the tribes because these people could be very good mediators between the men and women in the tribes. Because men and women, when we look at science, our brains are different. We do think differently. We perceive this reality differently. We project this matrix differently, right? And we walk this matrix differently. So when someone was a two-spirit, they were able to be a very powerful mediator for the men and women in the tribes to be able to communicate the points between the two groups, and actually would create more connection within the tribe. And so it's sad to me that, people can't just do that. And I mean, like I said, I'm not against transition. I understand that it completely changes people's lives, that it saves lives. Like I said, I know it's real. I'm not sitting here saying it's not real. But I would just like to see a future where we can have space for people to break the gender norms, because it almost feels like we are going in this backwards direction where it's like, okay, well, if you do girly things, then you must be a girl. Why? If you're a man who likes to do girly things, why can't you just be a man who likes to do girly things? If you're a female in a male's body, then yeah, go ahead. Like, if that's truly how you feel, if that's what's going on, then do whatever is going to make you happy, and whatever is going. I like Lizzie said, freedom. I want freedom for everyone. I want bodily autonomy for everyone. I don't want to tell anybody what to do or what not to do. But that goes with what I'm saying too. I don't want to gatekeep and say that if you're a girly boy, then you have to be a girl. No, you're just a feminine boy, and that's okay. If you want to paint your nails, it doesn't mean you're a girl. It just means you're a boy who wants to paint his nails. If you're a girl, and the reason I feel so passionately about the trans movement and trans children with the puberty blockers and trans kids and everything like that is because when I was a little kid, I suffered extreme sexual trauma as a child. And I, wanted to hang out with the boys, and I wanted to be like the boys because the boys felt cool and the boys felt safer and the boys felt, tougher, and like they could protect themselves better. And so I went through a full tomboy phase where I would wear like girls' jeans, like I'd wear flares, but I would wear boys' shoes, boys' sweatshirts. I would only hang out with boys. Like, I have such a soft spot in my heart for that because if this was happening when I was a kid, I might have made decisions for my body that I could never go back on. Like, I love being a woman now. I realize a lot of my disgust for being a woman was coming from my sexual trauma and everything that I've been through. And I love being a woman. I love having a female form now. I love my body. I look forward to someday having children. Like, these are all things that could have been stolen from me if I was a child, a minor, making an adult decision. I don't think children, your brain's not developed till you're 25. How can you know? You know what I mean? Like, if a kid can't even smoke a cigarette until they're 18, why the fuck can they take these experimental drugs that the FDA is now coming out and saying causes like brain swelling and something else? There was something else it was causing in children. So it's like, I just have a huge issue with that because and also I listened to this very life-changing story from a person. They identify as male, but they went through a full transition and it was way too fast. Like, they did everything too quickly. Their name is Shapeshifter, and Blair White actually did a really great interview with them. It was so enlightening. But he was saying he just wants to see a world where like he can be a feminine man and not have people tell him, oh, you're gay. Like, he was gay, but like, let's not just assume, you know, like, we don't have to put people into these categories. Like, if you are a feminine man, you're automatically gay. Or if you're a feminine man, you should just transition and become a woman. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's give people the space to be fluid. But I feel like that goes back to, like, going back to our roots, like I was saying, bringing it back to the whole two-spirit thing. Like, if we can go back to our roots where times were simpler like that, and where we were more connected to source, we were less connected to the devil box, less connected to the media and the internet and TV, obviously, because it didn't exist back then, and we were connected to an actual source. Our information wasn't being fed to us. If we can connect back to source and we can just hold space for people and just, you know, let people spread out and act how they want to act, like, it almost feels like this movement, I mean, I think a lot of it is driven by big pharma because they become a customer for life if they go through these life-altering situations, and they're, whether they are or aren't trans, they're going to be a customer for life. But I do think it's very backwards to just transition people, like, because they have a certain aesthetic or because they want to participate in things that are generally girly or generally boyish. Like, who made that up? Who said that only girls do that? Who said that only boys do that? That's very backwards to me. I don't find it progressive. I find it very limiting, and I find it dangerous, honestly. And I wanted to say one other thing about it. I forgot. Oh, but yeah, the whole two-spirit thing, like, let's just give people space to be themselves, you know? And, oh, I lost it again. Oh, damn. I lost it again. Oh, well, it'll come back. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. A lot of it seems like internalized homophobia too, right? Because I'm realizing, I'm going to get really honest with you guys and very real, because it'll probably help some people. So I grew up in a time, I'm 30. And so I grew up in a very weird in-between time where it was like I grew up on VHS tapes that turned to CDs and DVDs that turned to the internet. So I was in an older time, and I watched humanity shift. And when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, gay was a slur. Like, you'd be like, oh, that's gay. Like, that was a bad thing. When you would call somebody gay, it was a bad word. Like, it was rude. Like, you were making fun of them. And, like, being gay was weird. And it was, like, not accepted. And, like, it was still, like, weird. And, like, to put it this way, in my high school, we had one gay guy. I'm sure we've had more. Like, I'm sure more have come out since then. But it was, like, one openly gay kid. And he was, like, you know, the epitome. He was wearing, like, Ugg boots. He had his tote bag. And everyone was cool to him. We were all cool to him. But it didn't stop the fact that, like, in the hallways, you hear people being like, oh, that's gay, or, like, making these slurs or doing these things. And, like, a lot of people were against it. Like, a lot of people thought, like, as a girl, too, like, you're going to stop. If you admit that you like girls, you're going to stop getting invited to sleepovers, right? Because you're going to be the weird girl, and everyone's going to be afraid you're, like, looking at them or hitting on them or this or that. And so I realized that I had a lot of I can look back on my life and realize that I've had crushes on girls since middle school. I just thought I really liked these girls. Like, I just thought I really liked them as a person. Like, wow, they're so beautiful and cool, and I have so much fun with them, and they make me laugh, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But looking back, I can realize that I had crushes on them. And looking back on my life, too, I can realize that I had a lot of internalized homophobia. Like, I did not want to like women. It literally, at 30 years old, this is the first time in my life that I've been able to openly be like, yeah, I like girls. I do. I like girls. I would date a woman. I would have sex with a woman. I've had sex with women in the past. I've dated women in the past, but I always kept it a secret. Like, I always would keep it a secret. And, like, looking back on my life, good night, thanks for coming. But looking back on my life, I just realized that I have a lot of internalized homophobia around being gay, and I still hold some in my heart. Like, that's kind of scary to me. Like, if I were to meet a woman and want to start a life with her, like, well, how do you get pregnant? Like, there's all these things. Like, how do you do that? I know there are options, but it's just complicated. It seems like a complicated situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is the first time in my life I've been able to admit to myself that I do have these feelings of internalized homophobia. And you almost have to ask yourself, these parents that are encouraging their children to transition at such a young age, are they also holding internalized homophobia in their hearts? Because it'd be easier to have a straight son than a gay daughter. You know what I mean? And so that's almost how this all feels to me. All this gatekeeping and labels. It's like gatekeeping in the wrong way. It's like gatekeeping as far as language and semantic goes, but absolutely zero gatekeeping or tabs being kept on the actual pharmaceutical aspect of things. So it's very backwards to me, and it does feel very homophobic. And, you know, I was listening to a detransitioner speak, and he was saying, you know, he grew up being called all these, like, horrible names. I'm not going to repeat them because they're very mean, but, you know, many gay slurs, and he was beat up and blah, 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 and just treated terrible for being a gay boy. And so he thought, I must be trans, you know, and then he transitioned, and then he realized, no, I am a gay boy. I just had all this, like, internalized homophobia because of growing up. I was told it was bad. I was told it was wrong. I was made fun of. I was bullied. I hated myself because other people hated me for being me. And so they felt like there was something they had to change in them. And so, yeah, that's kind of my take on all of this. I'm very passionate about it. Because like I said, like I said, I'm not trans, but I experienced how difficult, I don't want to say how difficult, it was difficult, how much informed consent there was just, I don't know, 6 years ago. This was like 6 or 7 years ago I lived with this guy. I experienced how much actual informed consent there was, how much therapy he had to go to before he could actually take hormones, how much therapy he had to go to before he could get the surgeries, how much he was informed about how intense these surgeries are. Like I said, I lived with him after surgery. It's not like a walk in the park. It's major intensive surgery. I had to be there for him, you know? So like I said, I am not this, but I have experienced this through living with someone else, and it really scares me the direction that this is going in. I think Big Pharma saw that they could make $1 off of this, just like they saw they could make $1 off the V, obviously. And I think they're running with it, and I think they're going to run it into the ground, and then I think it's going to create huge problems for people who actually need the medical care. I think it's going to become so gatekeepy that people who actually need it to save their life are going to have a difficult time receiving the medical care that they need because they've been so negligent and just handing out the hormones and surgery like candy. Yep, $, literally. I used to think I was lesbian because of trauma as well. Unfortunately, my mom can be difficult, so I really had to figure it out on my own, but I did it and life's great. Good for you. Freeness is a beautiful thing. I feel like I could relate to. Yeah, I fall for people's hearts and what's inside them as an individual. Same. Dutch, you remind me of myself in so many ways. I love wearing guys' clothing. It's just more comfortable in my opinion. And yes, boys felt tougher and safer to be around. Yeah. Same. And even like today I'm in like a big sweatshirt, and like people would look at my Instagram where I'm in like a thong dancing on a pole and think that I go out looking sexy. Most of the time I'm in like a baggy t-shirt and sweatpants, and I still get sexualized. But yeah, it's about comfort and freedom, as we're saying. I love that you're admiring your acceptance of your sexuality. That's how it should be. Thank you. I grew up in your era. I identified as a lesbian in high. That's so interesting, Hannah. You've never told me this. Grew up as a lesbian in high school because of trauma. As I got older, I realized I was pansexual. Luckily, in high school, I had LGBTQ friends. Yeah, that is good. Oh my god, I love you, Dutchess. I miss seeing your videos. I've only been watching those that pop up on my line, and I saw you and I was like, yes, finally Spirit trying to only watch those guided by Spirit. Yay! Glad you made it. Remember when we were in high school, I think Hollister had pink shirts that said guys / boys or whatever wear pink too. Whatever anyone. Yes! Yes, guys wear pink too. Hell yes. Same. I was labeled as a weird tomboy girl. Yeah, man, I've actually had to fight the hate of being male due to what men have done throughout. Yeah, you know, and that's something I'm trying to get better at too, because I realize that I have a deep-seated and deep-rooted hatred of men because of the way men have hurt me. Like, women have hurt me too, don't get me wrong. I had a domestic violence relationship with a woman who she beat me worse than any man ever did, dude. So, like, I know that women, it's not about men or women. People can just be sick and twisted and evil. It's not about whether they're men or women. However, the overwhelming majority of my trauma and pain comes from men. And so I'm working on that right now. I'm working on this deep-seated fear and hatred and like labeling of hating men. Like, I don't hate men. I love my dad. I love my friends who are men. I love, I love a lot of men. I love, like my great uncle and my grampy. I fucking love my grampy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hate men, but I hate men as a collective, and that's something I'm really working through right now. So thank you for saying that. That's a very important, I think, point to make, especially talking about this trans topic too. Like, people could be thinking to transition to, relieve themselves of some of the, and that, honestly, that even relates back to the whole white thing that I was talking about with the Native Americans and me being a white Native American, like, and how it was like these white women are the ones that are kind of hating themselves and transitioning and realizing it's not right for them. And it's like, it all goes back to that, like, I guess pinpointing where that trauma comes from and where these feelings are actually coming from, which is hard. It's hard. You have to really look at yourself to figure out where the fuck this, like, pain and sorrow and hatred is living in your body, and then how can you heal that for you, and how can you take responsibility where you need to, and then where can you say, okay, that was never me, like how you're saying, like, you hated the collective of men because of what the collective of men has done. It's okay to say that's fucked up, but I didn't do that. That's the same as me as a white person. I can look at it objectively and say, yeah, white people have been fucked up. Okay, of course I can say that. I think anyone with half a brain can say that. But I can also say that wasn't me. I didn't do that, And also, let's not forget too that, like, slaves have come in every shape and color. Because let's not forget, I know a big one that people like to use is like Irish need not apply. The way that Irish people were really discriminated against back in the day. And even like when I think about like the Spanish conquest, where they just went through and they just converted everyone to Christianity. Like, they weren't necessarily white and they still, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I feel like I'm just talking in circles, but I just feel like it all relates. I've met someone I care about, and she's been in a relationship where he's abusive, yells so much at her. She sent videos looking so scared, and he's been physical twice, but she keeps going back. It's really, really hard. So my therapist explained leaving a domestic abuse situation as if, imagine that person is chained to the person who's abusing them. Every time they go to leave is like breaking a link of the chain, but you can't break the full chain all at once. It's like you're breaking it link by link by link until finally you get to that last straw, you get to that last link, and you leave for good. It takes women, I think, an average of 8 to 13 times to actually leave an abuser. So just keep that in mind. As I grew up, I have learned the hard way. If you are one of those who see the problem, it's your responsibility to change it, or at least do your part. Agreed. I'm still trying to find a man that is tapped in and isn't pretentious as fuck. I hear you. I found a couple nice ones, and I'm riding that wave, and I'm grateful for it, and it's definitely a blessing. Before I was assaulted, I'd say when I was in preschool, I knew in my soul I was going to marry a woman. Not everyone knows who they are at that age. I definitely feel lucky. Wow, that's deep. Ah! Tia said, girl, get your napkin. I was literally thinking that. I need to go get my napkin so I can eat my cheese and pickles. Thanks for saying that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 my time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 my time. Woo! And as I stand up, I realize I was sitting on a napkin the whole time. Was it there, or did it glitch into our reality? And my candle just popped as I said that. I was literally sitting on a napkin. Was that there? I don't know. Yo. Thank you, Tia. So I want to talk about experience it. So guys, big moment. Drum roll, please. I broke my celibacy. I finally did it. I actually did it a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't really ready to share. But I'm gonna have some pickle and cheese. ASMR. Chewing. I know. Tia sent the emoji that's like, so, yeah. This is with a very nice man who knows about my trauma. And so that's something I want to talk about. What? Everyone's shocked. Girl, how you feeling? Everyone's freaking out. Happy for you. Dang. Okay. Hi, baby Pico. Come on. Y'all know how that feels. Congratulations. Thank you. The good tea. Yeah, everybody get your tea. Now that I have my napkin, I can tell the story. Yeah, no, he knows like almost all of my, he knows a lot of my trauma. He's super, very respectful of it, and just really nice to me and just really respectful. And so I want to talk about like what I've experienced. So it was like, at first I thought it was going to be a lot more emotional feelings. So at first it was emotional feelings. Like the first thing that kicked up was like abandonment issues and codependency issues. So I was really scared that he was going to like never talk to me again. Which sounds so dumb because like he's my friend and like we're friend, like, and you know, he's literally like I could call him right now and he'd pick up, and it's like 1:30 or 2:30, 12:30 in the morning, and he'd be like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? Like, so, oh, that's light. I was like, what is on my face? It's like a light. But so it's like I was feeling really scared he was gonna abandon me. I was scared he was never gonna talk to me again. I was scared our friendship was gonna change. I was scared. It was like all these emotional things came up first. But now that that aspect has like moved to the side, I'm experiencing extreme physical pain that nobody really talks about from sexual trauma. So like, and it's not during sex. Like I'm not having physical pain during. I was scared too, like about getting triggered in certain positions or things like that, and so I just have made sure to like be really careful with myself and my body and everything like that. But it's after. It's the day after. So like the day after, I've been getting hit with these like horrendous migraines, and they wrap around my eye, down through my ear. It feels like an extreme ear infection, down the back of my neck, and up my head and into my back. And so I learned that a lot of times sexual trauma actually lives in our jaw. And I just learned this, but it makes so much sense because I actually have pretty severe sexual trauma around oral sex, like very severe violent trauma around that. And so it makes sense to me that this trauma is living in my jaw. But I guess that's really common. Nobody fucking taught me that like sexual trauma can live in your jaw. I never would have thought. And so my friend Sam showed me this like, my friend Sam showed me this therapist who does pelvic floor therapy, and one of her one of her sessions is around jaw. Like, she has a whole, like, 30-day program to heal the sexual trauma in your jaw. And so that was something I did not expect. I didn't expect physical pain. And so after my car accident, this side of my body was very vulnerable and I was all fucked up. This side, because I was hanging sideways. I should do a story time on my car accident. I was hanging sideways for 45 minutes, so all of this got stretched, and then after I came out, it got constricted like this. So I have a lot of problems here from my car accident. So whenever I would have this pain, I thought it was from my car accident, and now I'm realizing it's a combination of that, obviously, and then the sexual trauma. And so it's like, yeah, so I wanted to tell that because I could have never expected that. I would be getting migraines and jaw issues from, being sexually active again. Who would think? And then also, like, extreme lower back pain, or like hip pain, a lot of pain in the pelvis area, like a day or two after, and UTI. UTI is a symptom of sexual trauma kicking up, and that's literally what I just experienced. I want to see what you guys are saying. You're popping off in here. Let's see. We want to know. I'm 30 as well, Dutch, and also had some attraction to women, but it was secret to me. I felt embarrassed, so I kept it from my family. Same. Like, I don't even think I've ever told my family. I think my sister knows, but like, I don't just like walk into the family party and be like, hello, I'm into girls. It's hard because we got brainwashed. Like, we had a certain type of brainwashing, Honestly, these days, a little true affection goes a long way. Exactly. Congratulations. Thank you. Girl, I did the same thing, and honestly, the relief amount of stress, even in those moments. Same! Oh my God. I was like, because I used to say all the time, like, back when I used to have casual sex, when I'd be really angry, I'd be like, oh, Jesus, I need to just get laid. And I remember why I used to say that now. It's a huge endorphin release. And also, I've been... like, I haven't let people touch me romantically in 5 years, so it just feels good to get cuddled. Like, it feels good to get held. It feels good to, like, literally the guy that was over my house earlier was just, like, caressing my face, just, like, looking at me, telling me how beautiful I was, just caressing my face. Like, that's nice. I forgot. I missed that. People sending the little, like... the little confetti emojis. I'm so happy for you. That's incredible. Thank you. Also struggled with hatred of men from being taken advantage of. Yes. Hey, Casey. I needed to be in this live. I'm going through that right now. I never knew that. It does make sense. Yes, that's why I want to share these. Like, when I learn something new, I want to tell you guys, because what's the point of me having a platform if I'm not sharing this stuff? And I also want it to be less taboo. Like, I feel like I should be... that's the other cool thing about this guy is, like, every time I'm like, I'm sorry, that's super dark, or that's really heavy, or I'm sorry if that, like, just brought the mood down when I'm sharing my trauma, he's like, yeah, it's dark, but he's like, but it's your life. Like, this happened to you, so why would I be like, ugh, don't tell me that, that's too dark. Like, he's like, no, like, this is your experience. This is... Hi, Teresa. He's like, this is your experience in the world. I'm not going to silence your experience, and that's why I want to create this open space for dialogue to be like, okay, I have severe sexual trauma. I have complex PTSD. My sexual trauma starts at a very young age, like 2 or 3 years old, and then goes through my entire life. I should be able to speak candidly about these experiences that I'm having with, like, in a kind way, of course, in a as least triggering as possible, but I should be able to speak about this, and it shouldn't be so taboo, and we should be sharing this with each other, because when I went to school years and years ago, it was like 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted. I guarantee that number has raised since then. So if you're in a room with 6 women, 2 of those 6 women have experienced sexual assault, and I would guarantee that even more than that. It's more than that. I would bet so much that it's more than that at this point. So why can't we talk to each other about this stuff? Why am I punished by YouTube when I use the word sexual assault? You know, why can't we have this open dialogue? Why do they want to shove it down? They want to shove it down because they don't want us to heal. They don't want us to have these outlets. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Yeah, I got UTIs after breaking my celibacy too. After the antibiotic resistant UTI, I went back to celibacy. If a good person came along who matched me, I remember that, Hannah. That was horrible. I didn't experience it, but I remember feeling so bad for you because it was like every time I talked to you, you were like, yeah, like nothing's helping. It won't go away. Somatic healing for trauma is awesome. I think that's what it is. I think that's what I'm about to start doing. Do I need to hide this person? Thank you, moderators. I just hid that person who was being, best adult dating. Great. I hid them. I recently was triggered at a concert and had a present date and age myself and remind my body I wasn't being assaulted. Someone just ran into me the next day. I had the worst cramps. Okay, I'm going to explain something to you about a traumatized brain. Okay, so here's what I learned in therapy. There was like this diagram and it had squares. It had different squares. So the squares it started with black squares, gray squares, and white squares. And black squares are the past, gray squares are the present, white squares are the future. Someone who's never experienced trauma, their brain thinks of time linearly. They think of it as past, present, future. Now, we scientifically know that when you experience trauma, especially if you have the ability to dissociate, pat yourself on the back because not every human's brain is capable of dissociating, and dissociating is literally a survival technique that probably saved your life in the moment. And that means you actually have a higher intelligence than some people and a higher will to survive than other people. So if you have the ability to dissociate, you're actually accessing parts of your brain that other people cannot access. It's one of the reasons I think I'm so psychic, because I access parts of my brain that other people cannot access or have never needed to access for their survival. So a normal brain sees past, present, and future, black, gray, white, right? A traumatized brain cannot differentiate between time. So maybe there's two black squares when they're thinking of the past, but then there's a gray square and then a white square and then another gray square and then two more black squares and then a white square and a gray square. Your brain is all jumbled up and it cannot tell the difference. It can't tell the difference between past, present, and future because it's happening all at once. I'm going to hide this person from the channel. I think are they hidden now? I think they are. I don't know. Sorry, I think I hid them. Okay. So yeah, that is why people go into stuff like that. Go into flashbacks. That's what I was trying to say. I got distracted by like the chat bot trying to like have sex on this live. So glad I caught you live. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. We love you so much. I'm so glad you caught me too. How are you doing, Teresa? I love you too. Wow, I have energetic issues in all those places, and I've been through sexual trauma, and I've been healing a lot recently, and I've been having pain in those areas, and I do energy work and heal. Exactly. See, this is why I'm like, I have to teach people, because I wish people taught me. That was why I went on that live last time and was like teaching people safe sex stuff, because somewhere along the line, somebody taught me how to have safe sex, and I feel like nobody's teaching people how to have safe sex anymore, because I have multiple friends who just like didn't learn the stuff that I learned. And so that's why I'm like, if I have this information, I have to share it, because like I can help people, and it's the kind of help I would have wanted in that moment. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Very sweet. Thank you, Casey. I like the kitty. Seriously, dissociative symptoms in the house. I call it a superpower with my adolescent clients. Yes, exactly, it is. That's why I have to bring myself back to the present day and remind myself of my age. Yes. Yep, you can book a reading with me through my website. I have it linked in my other videos. I'll link it on this live after. Yes, Steve, this is a safe space. People who have complex trauma have higher IQs as well because they become amazing at solving problems quickly from having to navigate imminent risk and abuse. That is so interesting. Hannah's in school to be a counselor, by the way, guys. She's currently interning and working with the youth, actually, which is so admirable and noble of her because the youth is our future and we really need kind people like her helping to take care of these people, these children who have been failed otherwise by the other adults in their lives. Thank you, Casey. Have you felt anything from your twin now that you branched out? I feel like he'd be sweating. Yeah. Yeah! Funny you mentioned that! Literally the last time... Okay, so the last time I had sex was the best time I've had so far because I felt like I could finally open up and branch out. I got fucked so good, I literally got my nails fucked off. Like, I had on press-ons. I came out of it, and I was missing a couple nails. Like, it was good. It was good, and it was the first time I had really been open and, like, you know, felt safe and could orgasm and, like, be myself and stuff. I have my twin flame paintings above my bed. I have my twin flame paintings above my bed, and the guy, my friend, looks up, and he's like, we're just laying together, you know, after, and he goes, what is fiamme? And I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, twin fiamme. What is fiamme? And I look at the picture, and I'm like, that says flame? Says flame. So it was like, as soon as that happened, he was like, I'm here. And it's been constant astral. Well, the astral harassment has died down over the past couple days because I told him, I was like, I'm sick. Either you're here to be nice to me in the astral realms or you got to go. And so he kind of was there for me astrally and was like helping me heal and things. I actually felt, this is going to sound crazy, but I had a day where I thought he died because I think he was feeling really suicidal or just feeling like giving up. And I had to go to him astrally to like comfort him because he's done that for me. There's been multiple times where I was like, this life is bullshit. I don't want to be alive. Why am I here? And he like shows up like astrally or physically. We wouldn't even be in contact. And he'd be like, hey, just like checking in. Is everything okay? You know, like he can feel it. So I felt him feel really hopeless the other day. And I just went and comforted him astrally. I've also seen physical movement. This guy never posts. And he's like posted something with a very rude, suggestive caption under what he posted. Basically calling me thirsty. And probably other people too. Probably other people that he thinks are thirsty. But either way, he never posts ever on anything. And now he's posting selfies and showing up in all these synchronicities and literally has to have the fucking last word after I finally get a good nut. Like, what the hell? It's so funny you ask that. Right? Isn't it funny? My twin flame, I've been in no contact with her, but a week ago she posted she was in the hospital and I messaged her saying, I hope you're okay. I apologize for something too. She hearted the message. Good. See, that's good. Dude, the DMs are flipping out collectively and they're kind of emotional wrecks. Honestly, I've been so blocked. I've been blocked from it. Like, I don't want to hear it. Have your fit somewhere else. I was here for you for so long, and what did I get in return? Shit. So, no. But yes, it is kind of validating for you to say that. I feel like you're also tapping into a collective theme right now where we all have a desire to heal deep sacral trauma. Agreed. It seems synchronous with Libra season reflecting on justice in our bodies. I just had the craniosacral therapy done with dialogue and released so much sexual trauma. That sounds amazing. I should try that. Ha ha ha, yo, no, literally, twin fiame. I wonder if it's because I've been spending time with the other woman I mentioned. Could be. Wow, I think I needed to be here. I've been through a few times SA from an uncle, and as a teen and as a young adult, I always thought I had a target on my head. You know what it is? It's an energetic vibration, because once you become like wounded by this, once you have that specific kind of wound, it almost sends out this energetic beacon, and it literally lives in your aura. And so predators can spot you from a mile away, and it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with your vulnerability being taken advantage of by predatory people that can sense your vulnerability. That's how I ended up in the cult that I talked about earlier. I was very vulnerable. I had just almost died from being sick, and then I ended up in the cult because they capitalized on my vulnerability. Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you for thinking of me, even though I deleted that comment because I got sweaty spaghetti about it. LOL, I appreciate you so much. Beep boop, whatever you said, it's a safe space, and it's okay to delete it too, but I'm sending you love. Dutch, I'm good. Glad to hear you're doing good. My twin visited me in the astrals too. Oh yeah, he's been in my dreams too. I had a really intense dream about another. He was like in the background, and there was this woman in the foreground, and she was like, when I hurt you, I hurt me. And I was like, what? And she was like, I'm speaking for him. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, wish he would just tell me himself. And she was like, he can't. He doesn't know how. And it was literally like that tarot card of the guy like writing the paper and like getting angry and like throwing it away while like his woman's like making out with another man in the background and the cat is like pointing. My dream was literally that. He was like at a desk, like, like angry, like throwing away his writings. And this woman was like speaking for him. And she was like, I'm sorry. When I hurt you, I hurt me really badly. And just know that I love you and I'm hurting. And then he like stood next to her and just like silently stared at me. And then the dream like shifted. Super weird. He never comes in my dreams. And when he does, he never talks. Same, DMs are a collective mess right now. He can wait in the back of the line, literally. Yes, I'm tired of people, lol, leave me alone. I don't even know what or who's my twin flame, but I can feel their energy and it's so refreshing and safe. Yeah, for now. Just kidding. Twin flame, once you come into contact with them in the physical, it's very stressful. Iced out by the DF. They are very much throwing temper tantrums. Absolutely. I dreamt of my twin the other night. I was kicking men out of my hut and he was standing there and we locked eyes. And when I closed the door, last dream I caught him hiding in my dreams and told him to leave. That's wild! He's just like hiding, like lurking. Cult? That's new to me. Yeah, that's a story for another day. That's a long story. 100%. Like, does the lion go for the gazelle running 100 miles per hour or the one with the limp? Yes. Not insensitive, but validating. Yes, it tampers the energy and sends out the energy to other predators. Literally, that is such a good metaphor. Does the lion go for the gazelle running 100 miles an hour or the one with a limp? That is deep. My twin showed up in 2 of my dreams last week. Interesting. Did he apologize? Someone tried to lead me to Dark Spirits, Museum of Shadows. I told my boyfriend, no, let's not go in. Weird. People having weird dreams, huh? True words about vulnerability being stuck in the aura and people taking advantage. Took me a while to understand that. Yes. I got on meth because being vulnerable and so confused after marriage and baby, I took off and I ran from it. I'm so sorry. Are you working through that now? Hello, Kaylee. How you doing? I was in a polyamorous relationship moving in with my twin and another girl. My twin wouldn't talk to me and then someone murdered the girl. What the fuck? For now, yeah, baby Pico, you know it's the truth. Honestly, I can't tell which I am. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Hey, Sam, for all we know, you could be a two-spirit, bringing it back full circle. And, I think there's both in all of us. It's just we resonate with one more. And if you don't resonate with one more than the other, I feel like that's fine too. I'll be like Tina in Bob's Burgers. Labels. Being a male with feminine energy is confusing sometimes. Yeah, I bet it is. I cannot relate, but I'm sure it is. I saw him randomly. He's got this girl, and I don't know how I feel right now. Ugh. Sorry. That probably sucked. Same for me. How do you know for sure if you're DM or DF? I want to be DF, but I connect a lot with the DM stuff. Honestly, I don't know how to tell you because I've always just, I have really, it's funny because I didn't realize I had masculine energy until someone told me I did. They were like, and then listed off all the reasons why I have masculine energy. And I was like, oh, damn, I guess you're right. Like, I am pretty masculine, huh? So it's like, I think just whichever way, this is going back to like what we were saying before. Maybe we don't even have to label it. That's horrible. I'm sorry for laughing at the dream murder, but that's wild. No, it's funny because nobody actually got murdered. That's why it's funny because, like, I need to prop this up because I'm, like, hunching over like a hunchback to read all the comments. But it is funny because nobody actually got hurt. I'll probably just go live tomorrow morning and talk about the spells because I guess I could talk about them at the end now. I could do that. And then eat my cheese. I'm totally doing better, working and all, but spiritually I was so deranged. I'm learning who I really am and how I feel. Amazing. Yes, the two-spirit thing. Like, why do we have to pick? Why can't we be both? Any advice for getting sober? For me, anytime I went overboard on any substance, I was able to stop. I'm just, like, blessed like that, where it was, like, I honestly think it's a lot of things, but I was able to be, I'm very disciplined, and I have a really strong will. I don't really have any good advice. Maybe, groups, going to counseling groups, going to outpatient therapy, going inpatient if you feel like it's that bad. I would say lean on other, like when you're going, and sorry, low power mode. I would say, here's my advice. If you do go to group therapy, don't necessarily make those other recovering addicts your friends. Make them your support system in therapy, but don't necessarily hang out with them. So I think it's way easier to relapse because that's something I learned by going to group therapy is that, like, those people were good to have in group, but not all of them. I couldn't stretch all of them into a friendship because we would just trigger each other too bad into, like, unhealthy behavior or coping skills, So I would say find solace in them, but don't necessarily create friendships outside of the groups. No, my food is cold, but I burnt the roof of my mouth so bad that it hurts. I have to get my charger. That it fucking hurts to eat anything, and I don't want to just be like sad eating on camera. Plus guys, if I'm eating, what's happening? It's just a quiet live with nothing happening. You had a dream about your spirit babies? I woke up like, what? And the other dream was nice. My spirit babies were asking when my twin was coming home. It was sweet. That's so cute. Plant medicine. For sobriety, cutting connections to it, take breaks from friends who indulge, cut temptations. But if all else fails, it's time for sobriety. There will be divine intervention to stop you if you can't. Actually, yeah, that is what happened when I was taking too much psychedelics, because that was the one thing I couldn't really kick was psychedelics. And that was when I got the UTI and almost died. So, yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, so we're going to do... Y'all want to call me spell with guided meditation or no guided meditation? Because that will be based on the price range. I'm grateful I survived too. Thank you very much. I was literally like tripping, having a bad trip while also having anaphylactic shock. Like I went into full anaphylactic shock. I like almost puked in my mouth like while I was laying down. Like I almost died. When my sister got to my house, my hands and feet were white as paper and my face was white as paper, but I had purple bruising all. She said I was purple from here to here, and like I was like so full of foam and snot from like anaphylactic shock that I was just pushing it. I couldn't breathe. It was like it's horrible. And when I went to the ER, I just kept saying, I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. My whole life is a lie. I'm a fraud. It's like funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. I have to do a story time on that because it was just going like this. I kept doing this, which I guess is like a body language for extreme disgust with yourself. Like self-deprecation is what this means. Or like I kept doing that. And I was just sitting there like, I'm a fraud. My life is a lie. I like for like a week I wasn't normal. For like a week I was like doing that all the time. Congratulations, love my situation for the relief too. Hell yeah. Hey Claire, how you doing? You getting laid with that sugar scrub? I'm gonna do a sweet jar. I'm gonna do I'm gonna teach you guys how to make a sex and money jar. That'll be good. Yes, guided meditation. Yes, I'm doing another call me spell. Hi, Sweetgrass. How are you doing? Been doing a lot of plants these 3 months. I have bad dissociation and derealization, and now I always feel low-key high. But hey, I'm not complaining, yo. That's the point I'm at too. Like, I don't need psychedelics. I'm too psychic for psychedelics. I'm high on life, man. I never heard from my person, so I'm debating doing another one or just letting it be. Yeah, my target, he never called, but he sure as hell gave me the information I needed. Just wasn't through the phone, but he, well, it was through the phone. It was through text. I was just hoping for an actual call, but we could do another. Can you explain me what call me spell is? So what I do is I take your person, I put them on a petition, I tell them call this person. It worked for a lot of people. The thing is, it depends on how stubborn your target is. Some of you have really stubborn targets. So it's like mine, for example, is very stubborn. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to put him in this time because I don't think he's worth it. That's not true. It's not that I don't think he's worth it. I just don't feel like doing spell work on him anymore as my twin. I just don't feel like the amount of time and energy I've put into this dude, I don't need to do anymore. But, so, what I do is I take them and I put them in a water. I tell them to call you on the petition, and then I put them in water. And, basically it becomes so uncomfortable that they're in the water with their thoughts. They're, like, stuck, almost suspended in time and energy. All they can do is really think of you. And I'll probably use succubus potion because it's a control potion. So it's like they just think about you and they think about how they want to talk to you and reconcile with you or communicate with you. And yeah, so they sit in water, and then I put a mixture of herbs and herbs and sugars in the water. Sugar and stuff to sweeten them up, and then the different herbs for like domination and calling and to like open the airways. This time we're going to do it with Archangel Gabriel on Wednesday, which is communication day. Archangel Gabriel is a angel of communication, and we're going to use seven angels incense. Like Spirit said, use this, and then they also told me to use this like blue jar candle because blue is the color of like communication, and also for Archangel Gabriel. I was also thinking this time I'm going to use a big standing candle, and I was going to put each of your target's name on the actual candle to get them to call you. And then it's like, what I do for the guided meditation is I have you guys meet up in an astral room and have an astral conversation in that room. And so whether you get your call in the physical realm or not, you get something. I guide you to some form of communication. And also it can come in the form of dreams. It can come in the form, like, you might not get an actual call, but then your person comes in your dreams and is like, hey, this is what's going on. Or you might, like me, get text messages, like get your information through text, through DMs, anything like that. Me and Gabriel go way back. Good call. Hell yeah. The dream I had with my twin where we were drinking a bright blue drink. Yeah, blue gives me communication vibes. Hell yes. That sounds freaking cool. Yeah, it is good, you know. Either way, you get something really good out of it because you're getting the guided meditation. And so you're getting communication either way, whether it's in the physical or in the astral, you are getting some sort of communication and closure. And I think the one I was most proud of last time was I actually brought two people back together. I brought twins back together. So this girl had broken up with her twin, and I think it was like within less than 24 hours of the call me spell, they had a conversation, they talked it out, and they got back together. So that was my most proud testimonial from that one. I convinced myself I was talking to ghosts, LMFAO. It's so funny. I feel like one of those stubborn candles was my... Yeah, no, the candles were like knocking over and shit. And I was like, y'all have some really stubborn targets here. But, you know, mine too. I'm not one to talk. My God, I did one time too because of previous trauma and going so hard on the weed to cope after is what sent me into my break. I was paranoid and was hearing voices. I was convinced myself I was talking to ghosts. That's funny. I also have some very stubborn guides who might be keeping it at bay until the right time. Sweetgrass, you were preaching to the choir. Stubborn target and stubborn guides. That's why I'm like, do I even put you in the call me spell? Like, what's the point? What's the point? You know? Aw, always good to see you too. Bright blessings to you as well. Can we talk to two different people? I'm so confused about who I'm supposed to be with. My past person or a new person. So it's like, I would suggest doing it one at a... So here's what I would suggest. I would suggest if you want to do two people and if you can only afford one petition, pick the one that you want the most communication with and buy the petition for that person. And then do the meditation for the person you bought it for, and then watch it the next day and do the meditation for the next person. If you can't afford it at all, you can still do the meditation. I think I'm going to do it live, so you can still do the meditation. And then, but yeah, basically when you're getting the petition though, you're actually putting that person like you're putting them in the water, which is making them feel uncomfortable. That's the trick to the call me spell, is I'm making them feel restless, right? They want to get out of the water. They want to get out of... Ooh, Spirit just told me, we're not doing water, guys. We're going to do something else. They just gave me something else. Actually, we might do 2 levels. We might do it like, I have an idea. I think we're going to do mud and water. Very interesting. Spirit just told me to do that, to put them in mud. You can definitely talk to 2 people. It's what feels right. Just don't be breadcrumbing. Be honest. If asked, yeah, like that's what I'm doing with this guy that was like just at my house. Like I'm like, just so you know, like we've talked about it. I'm like I'm gonna Like, I'm trying to date some women because I feel like that's something I need to heal before I end up with my forever person after everything that I just talked about. So I was, like, telling him that, you know, like, I do need to have space to branch out and, like, date other people. And he's, like, cool with it because we talked about it, you know? Spice screwed my head up, but I never tried psychedelics. Yeah, probably. Does the call me spell you're talking about inflict on people's will initially? No. Like I was saying, if your person's stubborn, it doesn't matter what you do. That's the thing about spell work. It doesn't work unless the person consents. So I have this guy I used to hook up with in college that's like, yo, tell me you're a witch without telling me you're a witch, when someone you used to hook up with 10 years ago can't forget you and says that you're like the best sex they've ever had, and like they dream about you still sometimes. Tell me you got some witch pussy without telling me you got a witch's pussy. Like, really? So he's on my Snap. Like, we talk every once in a while, whatever. We flirt and whatever. He's in another state, so we can't really hang out. But literally immediately after I finished the high value love spell, he was snapping me. And every time I do spell work, he's like there. And it's so, I told him, I'm like, your soul loves to be dominated by mine with witchcraft, or else you wouldn't. He was like, why? He's like, every time. He's like, you put a spell on me. I'm like, no, I didn't. I put out a spell and your soul is like consents. Spell work doesn't work unless there's consent. So, like, I can put your person in a jar of water and do this whole spell over them and put them on a petition and light a candle and work it. And if they don't consent, it's not going to work, you know? So it's like their soul has to at some point consent. So we're not overriding contracts. We're not taking away free will. We're giving people a kick. So like how that the two people I brought back together, the girl that ended up back with her boyfriend, he probably wanted to call her. He probably wanted to work things out, but he needed that extra kick. So think of it like that. Thank you. Free will is not so easily bent, even with spell work. Their soul has to accept it on some level. 100%. And that's why even though these twins subconsciously don't necessarily know what's going, they don't consciously know what's going on, they subconsciously know. Their soul is subconsciously consenting to these astral communications with you, or the acceptance of the spell work, or the rejection of the spell work. Free will. I'm not God. I'm not God. I can't say, I'm not source. I can't override contracts. I can't tell people what to do. I can't control people. I can only give them a push in a direction, you know? That divine puss hit different. Literally 10 years later, I'm still haunting him. Cannot find another like me. The soul can give consent without the waking mind realizing. Exactly. Thank you. I haven't been able to find a clear-cut answer elsewhere. Of course, no worries. So, okay, so we'll do the call me spell. That'll be Wednesday. I will link everything. You can send a donation for you'll get a petition, and you'll get your name and your person's name on the big candle. You'll get a petition and your name and your person's name on the big candle. We'll do a donation of at least $22 for the call me spell on Wednesday. And then the other spell that we're going to be doing on Tuesday, on Mars Day, is going to be an invisibility cloaking. So if you get a lot of night terrors, if you're under attack a lot, if you're under spiritual attack a lot, if you have a lot of evil eye on you, if your bank account gets hacked, if your internet has gotten hacked, if your accounts get hacked, whatever it is, if you are experiencing if people gossip about you and tell your private information to other people, okay? If you're trying to build something really big, but you're trying to fly under the radar, but people keep figuring it out, this invisibility cloaking is going to be very good. So that one, I'm asking for a donation of 17. I would like 1777, but if you don't do the 77, that's fine. 17 is fine, but it's a 7-month. The month of October is a 7 month. The number 7 has to do with health. It has to do with, speaking of which, I'm going to chug some water. It has to do with health. It has to do with spirituality. It has to do with luck. So, I want to put an invisibility cloak on everyone. We will be working with Baal. He's a master of invisibility. This is going to protect your bank accounts. This is going to protect your online accounts. And don't be stupid. Don't, like, that's the thing. Spell work is like, you still have to be smart. Like, you still have to have the practical, physical things that you're taking into account. So don't just, like, go be like, oh, I did the invisibility working. I guess I can, like, put my credit card information on this, like, unreputable site. No, it doesn't work like that. So just be smart. You gotta still be smart. You gotta still take steps to protect yourself in the physical realm. But this is, I felt like we need to fly under the radar more. When I got a healing recently, I was told that I'm getting a lot of my spiritual attack while I'm asleep. And it makes sense. And so I want an invisibility cloak for when I go to bed. I want an invisibility cloak. I just want extra invisibility over me. So that one is going to be $17, a donation of $17. That's going to happen on Tuesday. You will get a petition. I'll speak light language over it. And, yeah, we'll be calling upon Baal. And, yeah, that'll be really, really good. And I'm going to use stick candles. I believe I'm going to use black stick candles, I think is what I want to use. And yeah, that'll just be really good. I'm excited for that. So $22 donation for the Call Me spell on Wednesday. And a $17 donation for the invisibility cloaking on Tuesday. And I think the invisibility cloaking, that one might be private. I don't know. No, that one's probably got to be live, because if it's not going through my site, I'm not going to have everyone's emails. So let's just go ahead and make that one live too. Plus then people who can't afford it can still get the benefits. So we'll do that. So 17 for invisibility and 22 for the Call Me spell. And I'll link my PayPal and my Cash App after I get off of the live. Yeah, cord cutting. I have cord cutting potion in the shop still. It's almost out. That cord cutting soap, I need to make more of it because, whoa, it is so helpful. I'm going to use it before I go to bed. Your entire wallet was stolen? What? Mandy, you're like under spiritual attack right now, it sounds like. You're on the precipice of a level up with all this shit you're going through. Damn. Girl. What the hell? Do you have any spell work for an ex to let you go? Yeah, the cord cutting. Write them a letter. Write them a letter and write whatever it is, like, so if they won't let you go, write, if you're if you're angry, write it out. If you're sad, write it out. If you're like, I just want closure and I love you, but I need to move on, write it out. However you're feeling, write it out. Write them a letter as if it's the last letter that you're ever going to write them. And then at the end, write this. Let me channel something. I love when Elizabeth April does this. She'll give us like a mantra and then we can use it. So, I cut all cords and ties with this person and I release all contracts with this person. And you can put their name. I cut all ties and cords with blank. I release all contracts with blank. At the end of your letter. And then burn it. And if you have my cord cutting potion, I would suggest anointing it with the cord cutting potion. Ooh, keep a glass of water under or next to your bed and then dump it the next morning. I used to do that all the time. I used to always do that. Used to always have a glass of water. That's good advice. Light language, I did not learn. It just got activated in me. I heard someone speak it, and then I could speak it. So, yep, you can do PayPal. I'll put my PayPal and my Cash App. And then just put in the, like, put in your message, like, for Call Me, okay guys, for the call me spell, put your name and your person's name, okay? The person you want to call you in the message. And then for the invisibility cloaking, if you need a certain kind of invisibility, so let's say, like, this would be great too. Like, I was like, I wish I had this when I was running away from my abusive ex and I had to go into hiding. Like, let's say you're doing that. Let's say you have to go into hiding from an ex or something. Put that in the message. Like, please protect me. Put me, or like if your bank account keeps getting hacked, please put a specific focus on my bank account. And I'll put that on the petition for you. Just put it in the message. What are the things I would need? Like, I only do meditation rituals. For the cord cutting, just a pen and paper to do the cord cutting letter. You're welcome. Yeah, this live will stay up. I just realized I've had a single cup of water that I haven't touched next to my bed for like a month now. Jesus, I drink my water out of a thermos bottle, so I've just been lazy with the cup. Girl, yeah, go pour that outside. When me and my friend get high, we just start speaking light language to each other and we understand everything we're saying, even though she's not into spirituality. That's amazing. Thanks for all the endless options. Of course. Thanks, baby Pico. It cracked me up that, like, when I was live at the Big E, and I was like, it's baby Pico! And then my friends were like, it's baby Pico! They're so funny. They'll copy me, like, no matter what I'm doing. Like, if we're in public, like, we were at the bar, and I was going like this, and then I look next to me, and both of them are just like copying me, and then I started going like this, and then they both started doing that, and then I was like, and then it was like a whole like flash mob of just like me and them. Like, they're just funny. They're funny dudes, and they're just funny. They're nice and they're funny. I have another question on my mind lately. Each generation seems to be becoming more suicidal. What's your opinion on how many of us would be needed to collectively manifest the end of the world? So that I think everyone's getting more suicidal because we're not stepping into we're not going back. We're stepping into the new earth. Yeah, they match my energy. We're not going back. We're stepping into the new earth. I think every generation gets more and more suicidal because they realize that we're not living the life we're meant to live. I think that society gets more perverted with every generation. I think children are forced to grow up faster than is appropriate. I think that's the major suicidal thing. Honestly, I feel like it all stems back to sexual trauma and pedophilia, and like how like the people running the world are that, and they steal the innocence from children. Like, even like going back to the topic I was speaking on before about how children shouldn't be able to make life altering and body altering decisions. Like, you would never take a kid to the doctor and be like, and if the doctor is like, so we're thinking that, like, you know, we should probably cut off their finger because their finger is like unsavable or whatever. You wouldn't look at that kid and be like, that decision is up to you, because it's like, okay, so let's say they're like, if we keep the finger on, it's going to turn gangrene and there could be all this risk of infection and this and that. If we take the finger off, we can have this, but then they won't have a finger for the rest of their life. That's not a child's decision to make. That's the parents with the fully developed brains decision to make. I think every generation gets more suicidal because we're not letting kids be kids. I was very disturbed watching videos of Northwest. She's 9 years old, and Snapchat is like being like, she's a fashion icon. She's a fashion mogul. It's like she's already grown up. I was watching Kourtney Kardashian's daughter do a full face of makeup and skincare routine, and she's 9. That's not normal. Stop acting like that's normal. When I was 9, I was literally like swimming, like doing like snow angels in the mud. I was like, are you kidding me? I was making potions out of mud and grass. I was excited to turn double digits. Not excited to start my skincare routine to avoid wrinkles. That's insane. That's insane. That's why I think every generation is getting more and more suicidal. I think the children are not allowed to be children. I think everything's sexualized for the children. And I think that it's just not a safe time to be alive anymore. There's so many things that are like predatory and wrong. And also, I think more and more generations that are being born, I think they're older souls and I think they're starseeds. And I think starseeds are suicidal in this fucked up dystopian reality we live in because they're not used to being, one, in such a dense reality, and two, in a dense reality that's literally in the middle of the New World Order. So it's like, damn. I just saw a whole video talking about how grown Courtney's daughter is, and I thought she's a baby. Right? That's disturbing. But that's why I say it's very pedophilic, because it's like being like, whoa, she's so grown, and then that's when it starts to cry. And also, she's putting on. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I turned into a teenager. Why? Because you don't want to be sexualized. Makeup is an adult activity. It's like. I saw some 13-year-old in like fishnets and like a mini dress and like and I couldn't even take them seriously because I was like, and they were talking about like their depression and their anxiety, and I'm like, dude, like you obviously have depression and anxiety because you're being forced to grow up fat. Like I would get my ass kicked if I left the house like that. What happened to that? What happened to like letting kids be kids? What happened to going outside instead of being on fucking TikTok scrolling? Like, that's why people are fucking suicidal and depressed, because we're living in a fucking freaky ass dystopian time that doesn't allow kids to be kids, that doesn't allow humans to spread out and be themselves. Everything that I just said in the beginning of this, all the labels, all the forced, everything. It's just I think it's a really hard time to be alive. Children and women are preyed on in society. Agree. For real, let kids be fucking kids. Can't even tell people's ages anymore. It's hella weird and it's fucked. Dude, I'm gonna show you what I looked like right now at age like 8 or 9. And let me tell you, I was not looking hot. Me! That's me! And you know what? I love that version of me. I think we go through these awkward stages, and that's my sister and my cousin. Look at this one. Are you kidding me? I'm like 10 or 11 there. I feel like I was making a face because they said say pickles instead of say cheese, and I was like, no, you're supposed to say cheese. But now I'm literally, this is going full circle. We're talking about peas. We're talking about cheese and pickles, not peas and chickles. Cheese and pickles. We need an awkward phase. You know why I decided? I realized I think we all need an awkward phase. My candle just popped. I think we go through an awkward phase because it protects us. Because when we're going through puberty, then we're not getting sexualized. I was chunky. I was awkward. I was like unattractive. But I think it was my body's way of protecting me as I went through puberty to not have to go through things I wasn't ready to go through, you know? Not to mention, I have a lot of childhood sexual trauma, and I think our body reflects that. And like every time I've been really triggered in my sexual trauma, I've gained weight to kind of make myself, or stop taking care of myself to try and make myself undesirable. Peeze and Chickles! Literally! Yes, it's like these kids don't have awkward stages. Literally. I saw an 11-year-old post a bikini pic on Instagram. That's just wrong, dude. Like, my kid? No way. Why? So all the predators can save it and, like, make it their background and do God knows what to it? Yeah, right? It's funny since the cheese and pickle video is full circle. It's hilarious. Yeah, little baby Dutchess. Let's see it. Hey, we would have been friends in my little overalls and glittery pink child shades at the time. Hell yes. Thank you. No phones for children. I didn't get one until I was 16 and I had no... Same! Well, I got one when we went to, I had limited minutes though, and I was only allowed to use it for emergency because when I was in 8th grade, we went to DC, and it was the first time I traveled without my parents, so I wasn't allowed to text, and I wasn't allowed to call friends. I wasn't allowed to do anything on it. It was just simply there for emergency, and they got the most basic plan, so there was like, because you guys remember what it was like back in the day, you had to pay 10 cents for every text, and so I did not have that. And then, yeah, and phone, I had limited minutes. It was emergency only. I didn't have a phone with internet. Embarrassingly, I didn't have a phone with internet or a smartphone until I bought it myself in 2018. So I went through a very poor period where I didn't even have internet in my house. I would only watch DVDs and VHS and read books. Literally, like, for, like, I think that was, like, what was that? That was, like, I think that was, like, the 2016 elections. Everyone was freaking out, and there was all this bad stuff happening in the world, and I had no idea because I had no internet. I had a lot of bad things happening in my personal life, so thank God I didn't have the internet to hear about all the bad stuff happening, but I literally had no idea. I had no internet. I had no clue. None. Oh, it's like these... Yeah, I already read that. Peeze and Chickles! That's what this live should be called. As an early bloomer, I thank God for my awkward years. They were short-lived, and my peace was stolen young from predators. Literally. Been there. We had a VHS collection to die for, though. Hell yeah! I feel like that happened to me, too. The body definitely reflects the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. Absolutely. I got a phone when I was 9, a.k.a. hella young, but thank God I was a dweeb anyway. All I did was play with ringtones. Right? That used to be like one of the... And ringback tones, remember those? And then when you didn't pay for your ringback tone, it would be like... Da, 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 da. It was like classical music. I let my 7-year-old have my old phone and found Pornhub tabs on it. He said he got there from YouTube. I was devastated. That has never happened to me, and his account has child restrictions on it. Yo, I was literally just talking to, like, the guy that I'm dating, like, about this, about, like, Pornhub, and we were, like, going into depth about how dangerous it is and everything like that, and how porn changes your brain and stuff. Snake game for days. I'm so sorry, Mandy. Yeah, you're like... You definitely need some sort of protection ritual on you right now. But guys, I gotta go. It's like late. I gotta eat my peas and chickles. You know, it's just sitting here. I'm not trying to just like eat it in silence while you guys stare at me. YouTube is the scariest place for children, I swear. Yeah. Bro, what? That's crazy. We should do a spell to protect. Actually, that's a great idea. How about we do that? I would actually love to do that for like the new year. Like a really big spell as we cross thresholds into... Ooh, I just got chills. Yes! Yes, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, it has been a blast. I've been having fun, y'all. I'm gonna name my twins Peeze and Chickles. Yeah, me too. My firstborn... First name Peeze, middle name Chickles. Last name Divinity. Just kidding, that's not my real last name. Peeze, Chickles, Divinity. Can you imagine that? Is there a Peeze and Chickles in this class? And they're just like... Okay, that would be amazing to do a spell for the kiddos. Hell yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. It might be sooner than later, but we'll see. Okay, so yeah, I'll link my PayPal, my Cash App for the Call Me spell and the invisibility cloaking. I'm more enchanted by you every stream. Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you. God, I wish that were me. Peeze and Chickles. Well, Beeboop, you already have a really cool name. Your name is Beeboop. So... And I know that's your legal name. Like, you cannot convince me that that's not what's written on your birth certificate. Alright, I love you guys. I could talk forever, but I love you. I will talk to you soon. And have a good night. Enjoy your Peeze and Chickles if you're going to have some too. Okay, bye-bye, guys. Stay safe. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to go live at some point, so I'll see you tomorrow. Probably, maybe I'll do a reading or something. But, okay, I love you. Bye, guys.